Hello, my name is Ruta Matulevičiūtė. This is NextGen Arts for Enlightenment. We are talking to artists who practice consciousness-based art and aim to develop the full potential of creativity through the practice of Transcendental meditation. Today I am talking with Krista Kim, a Canadian-Korean contemporary digital artist. She is the author of the Techism Manifesto since 2014. A cultural leader in World Economic Forum, member of CDLC Meridian Institute for Cultural Diplomacy. In 2024, Krista Kim has received the Excellence in Digital Art Award in the Createurs Design Awards in Paris. Krista Kim is known for her immersive installations of light and sound and the integration of art, technology, and science to create Zen in the digital age. Thank you so much, Krista, for joining. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Ruta. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Can we start with you sharing how did your creative journey begin?
I was a very young girl when I discovered that I enjoyed art and that I wanted to be an artist. I dreamed of being an artist since the age of 5. So when I was role playing, as you play adult when you're a young child, I had 2 toys that I loved to play with. My plastic Fisher-Price suitcase, which I used to pretend that I was a businesswoman, and also my paint and palette set, which I used every day to paint. So I pictured myself as an entrepreneurial artist, and it's funny how everything happens naturally and organically happens to be what we expect as children. So throughout my life, I've always been very creative, and I also have tapped into my creative abilities through my practice of transcendental meditation. So it was in 2012 when I enrolled in the Masters of Fine Art program in Singapore. Before that, I was living in Japan. And it was in Japan where I experienced the power of Zen and consciousness in creating beauty that is in our world through architecture, through Zen gardens, through fashion, through cuisine, all of these experiences of Zen. And I learned a lot about that powerful effect of consciousness in creating well-being in all people living in our society, and how that intention can really create a beautiful place of healing. So when I lived in Singapore, I was very inspired by my stay in Japan, especially my experience at the Roenji Temple Garden. And I decided that I wanted to create immersive experiences of Zen, like the Zen monks did when they created the Zen garden of Roenji Temple. And I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I started to paint. And I was really painting vigorously. And I entered the master's program in 2012. But upon entering the program, I was going through a very big mental health crisis. I was depressed, I was anxious, and really just coming out of a very narcissistic, abusive relationship with my ex-husband. So I didn't know who I was. I was told that I, had no skills. That I was, that I was nobody, that I was stupid, etc. And after hearing those negative messages for 7 years, I began to believe it. And so when I left the relationship finally to, you know, to find myself, to really discover who I was and recover and heal, I practiced transcendental meditation, and it literally, saved my life. And I thought that I would heal from, or at least it would mitigate my anxiety and depression, but it did more than that. It actually helped me tap into the wealth of creativity in the unified energy field. And so that profound connection that I've been practicing every day since 2013 has led me on an incredible journey of self-discovery and also of opening the channel of creativity itself and becoming the artist that I always envisioned myself to be. And so my journey truly has been at, about meditating, about art, and about being a mother to my two children.
This is a very inspiring story. What is the vision of what you do?
So I remember when I was a mother of two kids, and my children were very young and going through divorce, very scary. I was living in Singapore at the time, and I didn't know how I was going to support myself because I was not connected in the art world. I didn't have any support, from anyone, any galleries, or I didn't know anyone, no connections. So I basically focused on, doing a good job in the course in Singapore, and doing my best and creating work that I can be proud of, that really pushed the envelope for me in terms of where I stand as an artist in the canon of art. Like, how am I relevant here? Like, where is my voice? I want to be heard. So for me, it was really a lot of study and jumping into the art world, studying art, studying the artists that I respect. James Turrell, Olafur Eliasson, Robert Irwin, Mary Corse, all these incredible artists of the California space and light movement, especially, that really inspired me. And I felt I really want to work with light. And that was one of the intuitive messages that I got. The intuition is so strong, you build it and it becomes stronger and stronger with meditation. And that was the intuitive feeling I had. So I stopped painting in the middle of the master's program in 2012, 2013. I said, I'm going to create digital Zen experiences. I want to create Zen on the screen because I felt that our world was being so badly um, manipulated by algorithms and social media. And I knew back then, from my own acute awareness of my psychological response to the smartphone and to these apps, I knew that my mental health and wellness was being compromised for the sake of commercialism. That my attention was being preyed upon. That it was this is a drug. This is the same as big tobacco. This is the same as addictive pharmaceuticals, just as powerful, because they prey on our human weaknesses and they understand our data. They take our data. They know exactly what triggers us, what we like, what we hate, and they use that emotional response to keep us triggered and coming back for more. And that I knew that there was a problem, and I knew that we would experience a major mental health crisis on a human scale that's never been experienced before, because billions of people around the world are using these devices. So I just had these intuitive impressions, and so I was compelled to write the Techism Manifesto in 2014 to encourage artists to understand the power of consciousness, and that we must be involved at the leading edge of technology in order to create humane culture using the emerging technology, to collaborate with engineers and technologists, because many artists are not trained in technology. It's not something that's natural to most creatives. But perhaps if you don't code, then you can collaborate and you can find ways to inspire the next um, you know the next evolution of where the technology goes toward a more humane application of the technology. So this digital humanism and the sense that we need to create a better world, a world where we are creating beauty and higher states of consciousness, was my major concern. So using the screen, I wanted to repurpose the screen into a mechanism of healing and wellness. And so I created digital Zen, very minimalist, take away all the noise, just focus on the color and the light. The gradients were very healing to me. And the process of creating my art was healing. And the meditation was healing, but at the same time, the art itself was healing to me. And whenever I felt a sense of awe and calm, and the colors would actually make me feel good, that's when I knew I had a finished artwork on the screen. And I used the gambit of light and the new gradient colors, the new gradient scales that were uh, new technology, and allowed us to create these new color gambits, these new gradients. And I thought, gradients for me, I'm just obsessed with gradients. I'm obsessed with how the colors blend and how it also poetically describes the new world we live in, because the world is fluid and we have become more fluid as a result of digital technology. It's very much a lesson I've also learned from Marshall McLuhan, who I studied in university. My background is in political science, and it was Marshall McLuhan that and the media studies program that really inspired me. Medium is the message. Every emerging technology that is adopted on scale in our society affects how we think, affects our consciousness, how we interact. It affects everything in our lives. It molds and shapes how we live. And in fact, if you look at the smartphone and how it has completely revolutionized how we live, how we shop, how we interact, every aspect of our lives has been transformed by this technology. He is definitely very prophetic and very relevant right now. His teachings, especially now that we're entering the age of AI and the convergence of powerful technologies, blockchain, AI, metaverse, quantum, we're going to experience immense disruption. So I knew that mental health and wellness, my own path as an artist, is also indicative and a template for how future human beings should live in order to balance your mental health and to navigate the unknown, the disruption, the incredible changes that we are going to experience. So meditation will save us from the machine, and art will save us from ourselves. That is a slogan that I just came up with back in 2013. And I believe that we need to meditate because the algorithms are hacking us, our psyche, for the first time. This is like a psychological, weaponized commercial tool. And we need to use meditation to, in fact, restore our sense of self and to make the right decisions based on our intuition and connected to our humanity, so that we are not sheep in a matrix. And indeed, these powerful technologies are, all they're doing is seeking to control us and to extract as much, you know, economic gain from us as possible at every moment. And so we cannot ignore this. We have to be aware. And the younger generation born into this matrix must practice meditation, ideally transcendental meditation or another modality that can help you restore that sense of self and connection to to a greater understanding of spirituality and oneness. So yes, I mean, this is where I stand now in terms of my practice and my philosophy.
Talking about oneness, your work Heart Space that was presented this year in 2024 in Art to Buy. I love how it creates this feeling of a collective, represents the collective, and I love the term you use, social tapestry. What do you want people who have experienced this installation to bring out of this experience?
So what really is the most rewarding aspect of what I do is when you do public art installation and you see the people's reaction. You see the smiles on their faces, and sometimes you see tears. Some people have never experienced that connection between their biometric data, the essence of your heartbeat that is shown on a screen. That is a profound experience, especially when you're creating a social tapestry in the artwork where your heartbeat and three other individuals at one time are creating beautiful waveforms together using your heartbeat information, your data, and everyone has a unique heart signature. A heart signature is an algorithm that AI cannot hack. So it's very poetic that it is a God-given code for each of us to protect who we are, our proof of personhood. It is a security mechanism against the existential threat of AI and eventually automatic general intelligence. So heart space is meant to build awareness about the importance of using biometric technology, especially the heart signature, which I collaborated with an AI company called Tenbeo, Tenbeo, based in Brussels. Their technology is using AI, gathering your ECG data and creating a unique heart signature using AI. And this unique heart signature is what will protect us. It's a security algorithm, right? They use it for high security, for government, for banks, etc. And when I learned about this technology, I was so inspired because I knew that this would be the answer to save humanity against the existential threat of AI, deepfakes, misinformation, disinformation, trying to steal your data, trying to steal your IP, trying to steal the likeness of who you are on the screen. There will be a complete distortion of reality. Very soon, we are not going to believe what we see on the screen until it is verified on blockchain using human biometrics. Think about that. So this is definitely a very important technology for humanity. And so I also wanted to demonstrate, because there's so much fear around AI. And yes, there are major threats and major existential threats, using AI, especially centralized AI. And what I wanted to demonstrate was that we can use this emerging technology, this powerful technology, to create transcendent communication between human beings. Because if we know data, like data is power, and data allows us to understand the truth of what's going on. If I know that I'm talking to you and it's verified with biometrics, and I know you're not an AI deepfake, Ruta,
Yes.
that helps us reach a better sort of level of accountability and the heart and the co-creation that we can create with the data. Like if I know your data in terms of your emotional state, if I know your data in terms of, hey, I'm having a bad day, I'm not feeling well right now, there's more compassion that is built into every human interaction. And if I can also communicate with understanding the whole city, how is everyone feeling today on average? Good, bad, average? Like we can really understand and design our cities and our environments in a way that's responsive and tries to optimize the emotional health of every single person who's part of a city if we just know the data. But at the same time, I'm a real proponent of data sovereignty, which is a very important human rights issue. I believe that data is an asset. And I'm a big advocate and an activist through entrepreneurship to help the world create an ecosystem and an architecture around data sovereignty, especially with AI, which is another topic. That would be another hour discussion. But I mean, it's It's basically a situation where Heart Space is an artwork that communicates to the world in a friendly manner, in an artistic manner, breaking down barriers, allowing people to collaborate and cooperate and co-create using biometric data. Like that can expand into all living things, all things, even inanimate things, just using the data from our earth, from the oceans, from whales, from dolphins, from plants, trees, um, all living things. If we can know the data of their state, how are they doing, then we would make more conscious decisions based on that, of how we treat the world and living things and all things. I think that this revolution of data is going to make us more conscious, mindful human beings on Earth, with more accountability and compassion.
I really love how you raise the awareness of the threats, but also you present the solution and present the other perspective of how to use the emerging and ever progressing technology, very advanced technology, for good, to create, understand, to create oneness. I really love this, because there is not much people, not many artists who are presenting that solution. I think this is really a huge insight, a very profound insight. And that oneness, I was thinking about how your experiences in transcendental meditation might be connected to the inspiration to create the artwork that shows this oneness, that communicates this oneness.
TM is everything. I actually, I give all the credit to my practice. I feel so blessed that I know my mantra, that I feel so lucky that I am able to navigate the world, and I feel confident in every step that I make, because every opportunity, every person that comes into my life, and every intention that I make as an artist is guided somehow by the by nature. And I don't know how else to describe it, but it's not that TM tells me what to do. Like there's no like voice telling me, oh, this is how your art should look like, or oh, this is, I just get these incredible flood of ideas. And because I'm centered in my ethos and my mission, like not mission, but more like, what is my intention, right? As an artist, my intention is to create healing and sublime art for the world, around the world. And that is my intention. And so with that intention, it's like a signal, an antenna that attracts ideas and opportunities to manifest different projects that align with that ethos. And so that is the powerful tool of transcendental meditation, is once you understand your ethos and your focus as an artist and your life's purpose, okay, then it's amazing how everything just comes together. I remember even in creating these artworks that were healing me, um, the next jump I made, especially in terms of data sovereignty, was in 2018. I mean, this artwork, I started these artworks in 2013, 2012, 2013, during my Masters of Fine Art program. And they were still artworks on the screen. And then I started to create videos, immersive experiences, and larger screens to create the immersive experience of Zen that I was inspired by at Roenji Temple Garden in Japan, Kyoto. And eventually I imagined that I should just do all the screens in Times Square. I should do a Times Square takeover. And that was my vision in 2015. And 2017, I started to really do large screens, but I started like in Paris during the Nuit Blanche in 2017, yes. And then shortly afterward, I had proposed through meeting some friends. I met the curator for Times Square Arts, and I submitted a proposal. And once I submitted the proposal, it wasn't until November of 2020 that I received an email from Jean Cooney, who's the curator of Times Square Arts. She asked me if I would be ready to present February of 2022. And immediately I was like, oh my God, like this is happening and I'm ready. I've been ready for many years now. So we did a very meaningful and, very, oh my gosh, it was, almost like deja vu, because I already pictured in my head. And there I was in Times Square with Continuum playing on the screens, took over 111 screens. And that was the largest grouping and presentation of the installation in its history of 10 years. And that was post-COVID, and everybody understood that this is a meditative wellness experience in Times Square. So the message, the timing, the place, I mean, I believe that TM helped me and guided me, bringing the people into my life and the opportunities and making that happen. So, and it's a matrix of different, it's a network and different things happening at the same time. It's hard to pinpoint, but there are many flows and energies flowing together in many different ways that are making things happen. And I feel so grateful. And then in 2018, I read a book by Shoshana Zuboff, The Age of Surveillance Capitalism, and I was completely outraged and very, very upset about the practice of surveillance capitalism by Google, by Facebook, by these large tech companies that are stealing our data for free and reselling it and using that data against us to manipulate us, to keep us captive, to keep us addicted. And the algorithm is so powerful that it's even becoming tools for malignant political agendas and all kinds of crazy agendas, even the pharmaceutical. I mean, there's so many terrible agendas that are using this powerful technology of algorithms to manipulate our population. And so I just knew that it was going to get worse and worse. And I said, I have to do something as an artist. I have to do something, and I don't know what it is. I don't know anyone. I don't know. I don't have any of the contacts. I don't know. Now, I would say since 2018, fast forward to 2024, I am now collaborating with leading technologists in this space who are activists who are believing in the fight for data sovereignty, and we are actively working together to build awareness, to create technologies, to speak with governments, to really push this very important human rights agenda forward. So the progress is now being made, but that's a large journey. That's a very long journey, but it's happening. And so I just believe that as long as and the thing is with TM, your purpose aligns with the cosmos, as because you're always wanting to do something that serves humanity and wants to make the world better. And because of that alignment, you're supported. It's a mystery.
For me, it's magic. Personally, you have been practicing for more than a decade. You have been meditating for more than a decade now. Did you feel that alignment with cosmos growing throughout the years and in your practice?
I remember very clearly the first day that I learned my mantra, the first day that I went into TM, the unified energy field. I had so much PTSD. I had so much, pain, and it all just poured out of me. My eyes were waterfalls as I was meditating. And I'm a very stoic person. I'm very stoic. So, if I go through a tough time, I don't talk about it. I push through it and I don't cry. I rarely, rarely cry over anything that happens in my life, even though I've been through a lot. That moment was a flood of emotion, and it was something my body needed to do to heal. My body was healing itself. And what people have to realize is that your work, your mental health, your family life, your friendships, everything is interconnected to the self. And what I learned through TM is that you're working through all of the pain, you're healing. Um, and over 10 years of practicing, I'm healed and my chakras are aligned. I feel really good, healthy. The vitality, the zest for life, my, you know, my mental health, everything is just really, I feel really good, really balanced. And I attribute it all to TM, and all that can do is optimize every aspect of my creative abilities. And then, of course, in business and my human interactions, and it's all a wonderful blessing.
I would like to read a quote from your Techism Manifesto, which is really inspiring. So, quote, "Art is no longer limited to a frame on a wall. Art is becoming ever more interactive practice. Collaboration has always enabled art's creation. Collaboration materializes consciousness. Art is consciousness. Techism is an appeal and return to that consciousness, the consciousness of art as shared, as thing, as idea, and as experience." And you were talking about creating healing art. I think this shared experience is a very important aspect of what is healing. And how do you think the artists themselves, how it is important for the artists themselves to heal and to grow in their levels of consciousness, to create art that is more healing, more relevant to more audiences?
It's so interesting when I go to an art fair or I go to an exhibition, you can read the consciousness of the creator.
It's true, yes.
So, and I remember when I was listening to David Lynch talk about consciousness himself, he said the bigger the consciousness grows, you can see that in the work. And yes, in my experience, that is exactly true. People with perhaps lower states of consciousness are belly gazing. And indeed, that kind of art's very interesting. And, art is a very large umbrella, and it's, very inclusive. But you can basically see the state of mind, the consciousness, the intention of an artist through the work. And that, that's something that not a lot of people perhaps can actually see or sense or intuit. But that art is all about consciousness. And, if you're creating beauty in the world, it's a big responsibility to send the world messages of positivity and grace, because that reflects in them. What you see reflects in you. Whether you're another human being speaking to another human being, you are reflecting aspects of yourself in the other person. All interaction is consciousness. And so I believe it is our duty as artists to create as much positive experiences for human beings on earth, to elevate themselves, to elevate their consciousness as much as possible. And I don't think that a lot of artists think that way. I think all they're trying to do is to create a product that they could sell and create the same product. And it's like a very sort of commercial enterprise. But it's more than that. Actually, art should be changing the world. Art should be influencing the world. Art should be creating worlds. And that is a very important role in society. And the problem is that the industrial system does not value or understand or put a price tag on this kind of, like, consciousness is so broad. You can't put a sticker on it. And it's something that a lot of people don't understand. So meditation, I think, is very important for an artistic practice because it makes your art, it gives your art greater meaning, greater connection. There's a portal of consciousness every time you create an artwork. And that's how you should actually see it.
Consciousness is reflected in the work of an artist. I want to talk about another example, which is Mirror of the Mind. I saw your work at Sweden's first ever NFT exhibition called Somewhere Ethereal, which was held at Fotografiska Gallery. So how does this work reflect your vision of healing art?
A lot of people, 85% of the world do not meditate.
Yes.
So how can you kind of give people a 1.0 experience of meditation through art?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that if you can create a meditative experience digitally, people are more responsive to it because people respond more to digital than analog these days. I find this. I'm speaking to the younger generation, the next generation. I love sculpture. I love painting. Don't get me wrong. I respect all modalities of art. But when it comes to the screen and repurposing the screen itself, the medium which is our primary mode of communication, I think that's the target that we need to really focus on. How can you create a meditative experience on the screen? When you create one object on the screen, one central object, people focus on that. Hunters and gatherers, that's how the human mind is designed. Focus on one thing, get it. And so, I intuitively just created an object, a beautiful object in the center, and it is in fact a crystal or a diamond. And these beautiful minerals are created under pressure, great pressure. They're resilient, beautiful, natural materials that are beautiful because of the pressure and hardships that they experience over time. So it's very much a symbolic analogy of being a human being, that beauty is created through hardship, through perseverance, that it is something that is created over time and pressure, and that it's okay that you've been through hardship. It's okay. Everyone suffers. The human condition is suffering. But we can transcend that. And the message that, meditation is a key component of reaching that level of serenity, of really inner beauty, then, that's something that I'd like to communicate through the work. And I'm still very early. I find that the world, I do what I do. I know I'm early. I'm always very early in everything I do. But within 20, 30 years, it's going to be a regular practice to have digital ways of reaching mindfulness and meditation for people who want to have it, just around them as part of their life, part of the visual context of where they live, how they live, or people use it as an actual tool for meditation. And I've heard a lot of feedback of people actually watching my videos and meditating and having that experience. And I love that. I'm very honored that is the case. And yes, I feel that digital Zen and creating meditative experiences through art is it's the right time. This is the right time to start. There's no better time. And I'm glad that I'm here doing it. I'm glad that I found a purpose as an artist.
This reminds me about the expression that art can be a vehicle for transcendence. So what are you saying? To me, it sounds exactly that. It's just beautiful.
Yeah. And it's just beauty. I mean, my intention is to create, meditative experiences, but there's all kinds of art, sculpture, paintings, installations that evoke a sense of awe and takes us outside of ourselves and helps us experience life from a different perspective, gives us a new revelation. Art should be a revelation. Every time you see it, you should get something out of it. And it's just the experience, very hard to explain, but it's something you just know, right? So that's what true art should be.
And what is needed in the art world? How can artists be more appreciated?
I think the general public needs to feel that art can be just a regular integration into their everyday life. This is what I learned in Japan, because everyone in Japan understands the beauty of creativity and contributing to the beauty of society through art and culture. Every person in Japan understands the power of art because it's everywhere. It's not separated and blocked off in a gallery museum or just for a certain demographic segment of the population. It's something that's integrated into daily lives and spiritual as well. And I think that's where we need to be. We need to see art everywhere because, for example, well, in Europe, you have a lot of art everywhere in the architecture and public spaces. The Europeans understand that context, but I'm here in America, you see McDonald's, Starbucks, gas stations, strip malls, lots of signage that's most predominantly very ugly. A lot of commercial signage, but where's the art? And I find that a lot of places that do have art become so popular because people want to be there. There's so many places, but there's certain pockets of the United States that appreciate art because you have visionary leaders of a town or leaders of a place, Marfa, Miami, some spots in New York. I think we need more of that in LA, frankly, which is something that maybe I should start working on. But I think that people have to see how the art is actually benefiting them, and they have to feel like there is a connection there. Like it can't be something that's too exclusive. It can't be like removed from society, but integrated. So public art installations, I think. Public art's very important for this. Very important. And the more children are involved in public art, I mean, in schools, the more art programming. I think it starts with education from a very young age as well.
And maybe the broadest question, the last question, how can we achieve the fulfillment in the arts and create peace in the world? through arts. This is a very grande thing.
When you're in the art world, everybody is good with everybody. There's so much inclusiveness. Doesn't matter where you're from. The Palestinians will speak to the Israelis, will talk to the Ukrainians, to the Russians, to the Americans, to the Koreans, to the Chinese, to Africa. Everybody around the world is so open. That's the art world. So I love and embrace the art world so much. People are so open-minded. People are so elevated on that level, socially, especially. Understanding the beauty of culture, the beauty of the humanness and the human connection and the human condition. I love that about the art world. How can we create more peace in the world? I think it starts with each individual. Peace inside. Every individual creates peace on earth. And I think that's an art form. I think meditation is crucial. The more meditators we have in the world, the less wars we will have. And I think that we are coming closer to a world where meditation is going to be more mainstream, more widely practiced. I think that we are actually reaching more people. I mean, let me ask you a question. You're in a school, you're a student in the university, Maharishi University. In your experience, your generation, like, do you feel hope for your generation in terms of enlightenment and meditation and the practice and the inner peace? What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Meditation has been so beneficial to me as a person and as an artist. And I really can see my own growth, really rapid growth. And I can see the growth of my friends who started practicing. See their reactions before meditation, see their reactions after starting to practice and learning advanced techniques. Yes, this is what makes me want to inspire other people to start meditating, because I really believe it and I really have a huge hope.
People hurt if they're hurt. When people are in pain, they will cause pain. And so if art can help people heal around the world, if we can create those conditions and allow people to express themselves through art as well, the more art, the more creativity, the more free thinkers, the more compassion, the more peace. I agree with you. And meditation should definitely, you can't, but the problem is you can't force a horse to drink water, right? You can't force these things upon people. Everyone has their own journey to meditation. And usually it comes after great trauma. So as long as we're out there advocating for it and building awareness, that's the best we can do. And we hope for the best and keep practicing.
Yes. This is an amazing inspiration. Thank you so much, Krista. It has been a real pleasure and honor to have you here. I'm very grateful.
Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed our conversation as well.